All right, we are here in Zaya getting ready to meet up with Agile Tom, who runs the series Cox Chunk. He's doing an extreme chunk man starting at the Chambers of Zarek. So for him to roll out of his first chunk, he has to complete all the drops from Cox. He has to get the pet. He has to also do all the collection log. Now, if you are not familiar with the collection log at Chambers, it is a bit intense. Not only do you have to get the T-bow, which is one of the best weapons in the game, but also there is the completion cape, which, from what I remember, I'll double check with Tom once I meet up with him. It's 2,000 challenge mode completions. So I'm really excited to meet up with him. I'm really excited to find out how his series has been going, how it's been starting with in-game goals for his first group of tasks, as well as to find out what things that has been kind of surprising about doing it starting here, things that he didn't expect or things that have been harder than expected, as well as things that have been easier. So I'm really looking forward to this. I hope you guys are too. Let's meet up with Tom. Here we are in the Chambers of Zarek, and we are going to do some fishing, which I am not too familiar with what we're doing, but Tom, I think you have a little bit of experience here, yeah?
Hello, yes, I do. This is my very exciting training method. A lot of exciting training methods inside the Chambers of Derek. Happens to be one of them. So, yeah, give a little taste of that.
Yeah, how long have you been in the Chambers?
Since December 2022,
Okay, yeah.
so just over a year and a half now.
What when you decided to do a chunk man, was your original intention to start with a raid? Was that kind of always on your mind, or did you have other ideas before?
Yeah, mostly I wanted to kind of push the envelope. I had watched like Verf's series, and he kind of took like an extremely difficult starting chunk, um, being the catacombs to start in, and I wanted to one up that. But this actually wasn't the first raid I had thought of. I really want to do the Theater of Blood. Theater of
Yep.
Blood's actually my favorite raid, by the way.
Oh, is it?
But yeah, not by much. Like I still love the Chambers of Zarek, but uh, QB is my favorite raid. But like things didn't line up as well inside uh like Theater of Blood as it did for Chambers.
Yeah.
Like there's so many skilling things that you can do in here versus QB's like all combat raid.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to
And
think what would even the beginning, because you'd have to go through. Or can you get to TOB with just Priest and Peril?
yeah, so I would have to do Priest and Peril away, and that's already like making an exception, which I really don't like exceptions when it comes to chunk counts specifically. So it was that would have been a little bit painful, but it's not a big exception. Like Frey did that for his account. Um, it's not too big of an exception, just like
Yeah.
a beginner type quest. They can do it pretty low combat. And then, yeah, you can walk straight to the Theater of Blood from there, going through like the back entrance.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was in my head. I was thinking you had to go through like Sins of the Father and all that to get there, but you can go through the like that sewer area, right?
Yeah, there's like a back entrance kind of below where Fasani's Nightmare is.
Yeah.
And yeah, all you need is Priest and Peril to get there. But once you get there, there's not much to do other than combat. So I'd basically just be waiting around for random events. And one thing I could do, I guess, is just reset Maiden in like entry mode to get my
Yeah.
stats up,
Yeah. That
which
would be
would have been
brutal.
long. Yeah, I probably would have brought in a main account to lower its defense because it would have been impossible to hit
Yeah,
at
yeah.
like level one everything. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I could have done, and then get like a myth sim from a mystery box and then like try and raid in that gear.
That'd be brutal. Would you have to do hard
Yeah,
mode through Tob?
yeah. Eventually, I would have had to do hard mode.
Yeah, I that would have been. That sounds way harder. I mean, this sounds impossible already, but doing Tob first sounds really difficult.
Mm. Yeah. You definitely have to rely on your teammates a lot more into
Yeah.
your blood.
So, how is finding teammates to go through chambers?
Well, I've created a pretty extensive friends list, full of people who are down for chambers or can do chambers. And yeah, it's definitely worth it to take people with a little bit more experience with my account, since it does have like some drawbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of really great raiders that I go with. There's some people that I've kind of taught how to do it as well, um, with my method in mind as well. So that's good. But yeah, I'd equate it to like um, slightly higher difficulty level than like a normal like trio if we're doing a trio with my account.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot better, especially now that I have Twisted Bow and claws and some of the raid items. Like before, when I went like bare bones, it was pretty bad, and I
Yeah.
definitely needed like some extreme gamers to go with me.
How long would you say you're getting hard carried through the raids for your account?
Well, I started off with doing 2+1s with one of my friends. That was before I even like made a YouTube video for it. It was kind of just for fun. We wanted to raid anyway, and we just took the +1. And yeah, we struggled a bit, but we kind of got the method down enough. So um, it uh, it was pretty fun. We did first 100 KC like that, where all I did was like fill the braziers on the Ice Demon Room and Thief, and that's all the points I got in the raid on this count.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I really wanted to get my stats up so I could actually participate. And when I actually like went into every single room, I had like a U longbow with a rune sim, and yeah, no magic.
Yeah.
But I don't even use magic right now in the raid either, so it wasn't a huge difference. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you exclude drops you can get from the raid, what is kind of your best in slot for your setups?
Yeah, so it would be a magic short bow. Like I did end up getting a magic short bow after a while of using a Yulong bow, which I got from like a young impling. So magic short bow's the best range weapon before twisted bow, obviously, or any of the
Yeah.
raid items. Which is it's not that bad for sure. I just had a really bad range level when I was using it. Like if
Yeah.
you're 99 range and you use a magic short bow in the raid, it's not that bad, but you use it with like 60 range is pretty bad.
Yeah.
A lot of zeros for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was watching your videos, and when you got the T-bow, it seemed like
Mhm.
it was harder for you to get arrows than it was for you to get the T-bow. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. Like you use arrows inside the raid, sometimes you can't pick them back up. There's no like pile for some of the rooms. Like
Mm.
Vespula, you have to shoot it from a distance. Um, Ulm, whenever you shoot it there, goes into
Oh yeah.
the null. And yeah, so you lose a lot of arrows, plus like the amount of arrows that I'm shooting and hitting zeros is pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can pick up these cave worms, by the way, if you want to fish. I've got plenty.
Oh yeah. I
If you
have
want to start
not even
fishing.
picking anything up. I've just been killing them.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of arrows go to waste, and then for my train method, I use trolls, which kind of have a decent range defense. So I also hit quite a few zeros on them.
Yeah.
Getting rigor was definitely a big upgrade towards not hitting as many zeros on them for training. But yeah, still, I was relying on getting rune arrow drops from the raid and getting like worse arrow drops from maze randoms was another way to get more. So I was doing that.
When you got your T-bow, what level were you? Do you remember?
68.
68. And you need
Yeah.
75 or 85 for the T-bow?
85. They like recently changed it to 85 when they did like a revamp on a lot of weapons. So, yeah, 85. Thanks, Jagex. But yeah, it was a grind for sure. I also went dry on these arrow drops from the raid, the rune arrow drops. That
Yeah.
also made it a lot worse too.
Yeah, that must have felt awful to have one of the best weapons in the game and it not be able to use it.
Yeah, yeah. And I was also keeping a secret from my Twitch live stream for a whole month. So, they were like, "Why you get so excited for rune arrow drops?" And they were like, "How do you keep getting like so low on rune arrow drops?" Because I was training off stream. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was hard to do, and right towards the end, I just could not get a rune arrow drop. I was 84 range, and yeah, not able to do anything. I actually completely ran out to the point where I had to do a few raids like with like with the 2+1 method that I was using earlier because I just couldn't do anything in any of the rooms without range.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big drawback.
How many people knew about your T-bow then? If you did, because you didn't get it on stream, is that?
I did get it on stream, yeah. So
Oh, you did.
everyone who was in that stream saw it,
Gotcha.
and yeah, a few friends. I have a problem with keeping secrets, so yeah. Yeah, told a few friends just to, get the edge off of keeping a secret like that. So a few people extra knew. All right, these are the fishing spots over here. They change position, and some of them have like a eel that'll hit you for damage. So if you get
Okay.
that one, just change spots.
Okay, cool.
There's this really funny clip from like the first few days of Chambers being out, where like this team of 8, I think it was Oblivion PVM, were going through a raid, and I think they just finished Vespula. They were all like super low HP, and then one guy, as they're running through a fishing room, hits the fishing spot, and then the eel has an AoE attack, so it
Okay.
hits like everyone in the vicinity, and they all
Yeah.
died to to an eel hitting them at the same time. Extremely funny clip. If anybody
Ooh,
finds
is that
that
the eel
online,
there?
definitely worth it. There's the eel there. Yeah, but yeah, very funny. Very cool mechanic. A lot of people don't know about fishing in here, so it's
Yeah.
not very used. Obviously, the potions are like way better than the food when it comes to
Y-
HP and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that it seems like you have to utilize a lot more than most people is like the food, the fishing, the bats, because you don't have herblore unlocked, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I had to like pick up a lot of the pots from boss monsters, which luckily they've when they do their rebalances, they've been like making those easier
Oh, that's good.
to get. Yeah, so that's been nice.
To finish the chunk, you have to do, is it 2,000 challenge modes?
Yep, there's a cape for completing 2,000 challenge mode raids, and yeah,
That's,
that's the end goal. Hopefully, I get everything else before then, although it's not guaranteed.
yeah.
But yeah, that's like what I'm setting my sights on. My sights on. It's a lot easier to make a goal where it's like um where it's not like RNG related. So that one's just completing raids, just number go up, goal to
Yeah.
go after.
Yeah. I'm with you on that, except for the 2,000 KC for
Mm.
some of the hardest content, right? Like doing challenge mode, the difference is it's not randomized, but it's every boss. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's every boss, so it's a longer raid in general, but it's really nice to be able to know what's gonna happen next and not having to scout. So sometimes it takes a little while to find the right raid if you're scouting. If you're not
Mm,
just doing like any raid that you get, there are some pretty bad layouts within
yeah.
normal chambers as well. So
S-
try and avoid those and yeah.
So I know that challenge mode has like different rules for drops, like the dust and the kits, right? Do you
Yep.
have to get it in a certain amount of time to get the KC for a challenge mode, or can you do a 4 hour long challenge mode and still count towards your goal?
Yeah, so for the KC, it doesn't matter what time you get at all.
Okay. Yeah.
But to get these uniques, the dust and the kits, you do need to make the challenge time.
Yeah. So out of all the drops, how many do you have so far?
Um, well, as per the most recent video, because I don't want to get anything away.
Yeah.
But let's see, I have Twisted Bow, the Kodai, Dragon Claws, Ancestral Robe Top, Din's Bulwark, um, many Dexes, many Arcanes, couple Dragon Hunter crossbows, Twisted Buckler, and like the really common ones like the Torn Prayer Scroll, Dark Relics, which I've been very fortunate to get a lot more Dark Relics than Torn Prayer Scrolls. Dark Relics are basically like XP lamps,
Yeah.
except times 50,
Oh, is it?
which
Wow.
are
I didn't
pretty
realize it was
nice.
times 50. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot better than like a normal lamp that you'll get. Or it's times 150 if it's like a raid skill too. So it's really good XP
Oh,
for
wow.
sure, which is something that's a huge benefit compared to like other chunk counts as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Oop,
then I have the
there's the.
ancestral kit and two of the capes so far, the
Oh, nice.
100 milestone and the 500 milestone.
Do you know how many people have the 2K cape? Is that information that Jagex puts out?
I believe I put it at the beginning of my last video. Forget exactly how much I knew it was only 11 Iron Men had it, and I
Okay.
think it's 13 Iron Men now. There are a few that are pretty close
Yeah.
to it. But yeah, it's definitely like a very rare cape. You don't see it very often. Every once in a while there'll be some Chad at the bank just flexing it. But yeah, it's pretty rare.
So, how long does a challenge mode typically take you when you're playing on Cox Chunk?
Oh, 35 to 40 minutes, depending on the team. We do some things to try and speed the raid up,
Mm,
since, the more raids per hour I do, the better, really, since I'm just going for KC.
yeah.
One way to speed the raid up is to skip the tightrope room. You can like tag the monsters with like chins or a Vanderbow and have somebody cross the tightrope. Um, and then they pick up the keystone crystal. I can telegrab that crystal now and then just complete the room in like 10 seconds. It's pretty awesome now. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, before it might have been like 20 to 25 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, that versus like a 2 minute room killing all the monsters is worth the time save for sure.
Yeah. Have you done any more chambers on your main, like recently, like to compare how it feels between the two?
I have, yeah. I taught one of my friends in some duos and I actually got a Kodai insignia on that account, which it didn't
Nice.
have a mega rare in over 1200 combined KC, so
Wow.
it was
Jeez.
deserved. But yeah, it's yeah, yeah, just a few of those, and it's been nice. It's been nice for sure. Because
How does it?
I like
Does
to take control of a raid, like tell
mm,
people what to do. I don't, not to like boss them around, but just because like I'm like a control freak, and my account can only do so much. So
yeah.
I like to if people want to like get better at the raid, I like to give like a few tips here and there inside the raid. So it's nice to like be able to do that myself and you know, I've pretty much all the things that I try to tell people are things that I've learned as well from
Yeah.
um, doing the raids on my other account. So, you know, I try to not always be a control freak, but I usually am in the raid. I like to make sure everything goes as smooth as possible,
Yeah. No,
especially for like my teammates' sake, because when you have access to everything in the game, um, nobody wants to do like a raid that they're like struggling with um,
yeah.
over and over again. Especially if they're used to like really smooth raids with like other people who know what they're doing and max gear and stuff. Like some people, if we have a bad raid, they'll be like one and done. They'll be like, "Thank you, I'm going to do something else now," and it's fair
Yeah.
enough. I definitely see that, but yeah, I like to make the raid go as smooth as possible so that my teammates are happy. Happy teammates, happy chunk man.
Yeah. So if a 1 is your first day on Cox Chunk when you had no skills, right? And a 10 is your
Mhm.
main going through chambers, where would you say
Mhm.
your account is now?
Um, I'd say it's like a 4 or so.
Oh, is it that?
It's not like, well, there's still like a lot of things that I can improve my like damage with.
Yeah.
One is getting 75 magic. I haven't been using magic in the raid because like air runes are hard to get. I can only
Mm.
get them from implings and like maze randoms. So I've been stacking my air runes up for when I get 75 magic and I can wear ancestral. So I already have that one ancestral piece, the top,
Yeah.
and I have mystic bottoms, footbark helm, battle staff, like a few magic items. But
Mm.
um, I want to wait until like I have like the full set to be able to do magic in the raid because those air runes are not going to last very long. I think I have 12,000 in the bank right now, which
Yeah.
isn't bad. I think that's like 2,500 casts of like wind wave or whatever I'll be using. But it would greatly increase my points and damage in the raid when I do get 75 magic and can use that.
And you don't have any
And
staffs, right?
no, just a normal battle staff from an eclectic impling.
Oh, nice. Does that auto cast or no?
It does, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. That's nice.
Yeah, it'll be nice. And I can get a fire battle staff from a lucky impling. It's actually
Yeah.
like my most wanted item from a lucky impling. Um, Fire spells are really good on Ice Demon. That's one reason. Um, Also, um, I have like a potential smithing grind in the chunk directly to the west of me. Has rock crabs and they drop tin and copper, and that
Oh,
unlocks smithing for me, which I have runite ore and coal, so I'd have to get 85 smithing from superheating.
that's
And
brutal.
with just fire runes and no staff, it's pretty much a meme grind. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have to do it like that, but I don't want to make exceptions. I hate exceptions, so I'd
Yeah.
rather do it. So if I can get that before leaving the chunk, that'd be amazing. I think it's like a 1 in 160 from Lucky Implings. And I've seen a lot of other chunk men who have opened a lot of Lucky Implings get it. Pretty
Mm.
sure Verve got it. Extreme Gnomes got it. I'm sure others will. So it's not like the most rare thing to get from
Yeah.
Lucky
Yeah.
Implings. So there's potential to get it. If not, I will either like save it for when I get a better source of fire runes, when I get a furnace, or I might um, make a compromise and get like 70 smithing with fire runes because that's a lot less time to
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
would it's not really a meme grind to go for that level versus 85 is definitely a meme grind. I think me and Spoon, who's another chunker, calculated it at about 12,000 hours, which
That's
is double the time played I have already in this on this chunk just for
yeah.
that one grind. And it's mostly just hopping worlds for Essence Simplings. So
Oh,
it's
that's
pretty brutal.
brutal. Yeah. Yeah, because you're almost 2 years in now. So double that, you'd be looking at 6 years to get out of your second chunk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah. So I don't think anybody will have a problem with that
Yeah,
exception. But
I can't imagine, especially after you've done everything in this chunk already.
yeah, yeah.
Like to make an exception like that, I think is pretty fair in my opinion.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've kept a lot of fire runes so far, and nature runes just for that grind in case I do decide to do it. But yeah, most likely I probably won't, just because of the meme aspect. But yeah,
yeah,
I really hate exceptions. So hopefully we get the fire battle staff.
yeah, or you just don't roll that area. Just don't go west.
True. I mean, it's basically 50-50 because I can't go north and I can't go east. So it's either
Mm.
south or west. Um, so I gotta roll a 50-50 like 6 times to get out of there. There's
Yeah.
like the Giant's Den that's like 6 chunks away that would drop a fire battle staff. And then
Okay.
there's a chunk with a hard clue step that has a Ceridome wizard that also has a chance to drop fire battle staff. I'm currently looking for that clue step just so I can have it on me.
Yeah.
You can farm like Ceridome wizards by getting the clue step, killing the wizard, not like digging on it. You like wait to get another like hard clue, and that'll reset the step. You can go there and kill the wizard again. So I'd have
Oh,
to keep doing that to try and get. I think it's a 1 in 128 from them, but that's a lot better than catching God knows how many Essence siblings.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when your series first came out. I think I saw it. You might have your second episode might have come out when I first found it. But I
Mm.
remember watching it thinking like, this is such a cool idea. There's no way this guy's gonna keep going. Is that? I imagine that's something that you've heard quite a bit. Is that fair?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people have come around when they saw the Tebow, but
Yeah.
yeah, my first 3 videos got a lot of views, but I think after that people were like, this is impossible. So, maybe they stopped watching or maybe, I don't know, maybe they're like, we'll come back and see if he gets it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that the videos are picking up again. I think a lot more people have more confidence in it. There's a lot of people I meet like every day at the chambers um who say, "Oh, you have a cool account. Let me look at the stats," and be like, "Holy shit!" And then they ask if I have a YouTube. They see my YouTube and they're like, "Wow, I've actually watched a few of your videos already." They just like forgot about it. Like didn't think that you'd get this far. So, but yeah. It's a pretty good place to meet people for sure. There's a
Yeah.
lot of players here day to day, and they're usually pretty curious about the guy with the T-bow with an Addy med helm on.
Did you feel when you started that you would do this? Did you felt confident that you could do it?
Yeah, I knew I was gonna do it from day one. Yeah, it's hard to like express that in a video, I guess. I mean, and a lot of people say that they're gonna do something, and then
Mm.
like a few months later, they're completely gone off the face of the earth. So.
Yeah.
Like I understand that. Like I don't blame anyone for thinking that I'm not gonna do it. Um, Also like my record before was like I had my Iron Man series like collection log count, which it's at a pretty good amount of collection logs, but still like playing a main account or like a normal account with no restrictions versus this account is a whole different ball game for sure.
Yeah.
So. Um, I didn't really have too much credibility before this, but certainly after I complete this chunk, I should have quite a bit of credibility as far as completing things that are kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I think just being able to get through a raid with your account is super impressive. Let alone the you said over 500 now, right? Challenge modes.
Yep, over 500 now.
Yeah,
Well,
that's you
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
deserve the credibility that you have the tenacity to keep going.
yeah, yeah. There's, I mean, if I stopped halfway through though, obviously credibility's gone right there. But
That's
yeah, I've got to finish it.
yeah. At this point, that would be crazy. That'd be more
Yeah,
crazy than starting.
yeah, not finishing it would be crazy at this point with how close I'm getting. So
Do you
gotta keep doing it.
have any in-game goals for this account? Like, is there something that you see in your head now of like, okay, once I hit that point, that's the end. That's kind of all I want to do.
I don't really see an end. Like
Mm.
I've thought like before this account that this account is in the best position to complete the goal of an Extreme One chunk, which is essentially to unlock every single chunk. Because I mean, I'll be steamrolling chunks with the amount of supplies I get from the raid, with the amount of with the high tier weapons I have. There'll be a lot of chunks that won't be much of an issue for me, but might be really difficult for other people, um, like Inferno. But yeah, it's hard to like say that's my end goal because that's obviously like many years of playing an account to be able to do that.
Yeah,
So I have like a midway goal right now, which is get an Infernal Cape on this account,
that'd be cool.
and probably the I mean I want to be the first to get Infernal Cape. Obviously, it depends on where I roll and if anybody else rolls that first and gets one. But yeah, I think I'm definitely in the best position to get one, having a Twisted Bow, which is the best in slot for Inferno, and having like something good for the Nibblers is also um, high priority for Inferno, which the
Yeah,
Din's Bulwark spec is better than what people typically use on
gotcha.
like area locked accounts, which is the rune throwing axes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in
Because
a
I
better
was thinking
position.
chins might be good, right? Because you got.
Yeah, you need Eagle's Peak for that though, so that's
Oh,
a
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
that's a big lockout. Yeah. So yeah, between rune throwing axes and Din's Bulwark, I'd much rather have the Din's Bulwark spec for it.
yeah. Do you think you could do it now? Like, if you just went over there, do you think you could get it?
Um, well, if I went like straight from completing chambers to there, yeah, I could get
Okay.
it. But like with my current gear and stats, probably not.
Yeah,
I mean, I probably could, but it would be difficult.
yeah, yeah. It'd be hard
But
without
yeah,
herblore as well, huh?
yeah, that's another thing as well. Like I'd have to use like sharks and prayer pots, which are not ideal, especially where like supplies are crucial for Inferno.
Yeah,
One place I hope I get is the Fortis dungeon before getting Inferno, because the grubby chest
yeah, yeah,
drops brews, restores, stuff like that. So
yeah. And
yeah,
there's
that'd be a really
two
good one
entrances,
to
I
get.
think, right? Oh no, it's in the same chunk. That's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can get there from the catacombs chunk, the one that
Oh
Verve
yeah,
started in,
that's true.
or you can get there through like another entrance. And that entrance, you don't have to do the entire catacombs to complete the chunk. That entrance, you can only get from the catacombs to Forthos to unlock going the other way around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What
So, yeah,
we?
that's kind of like a midterm goal for me,
Yeah, yeah,
complete
yeah.
Inferno.
You know, early game T-bow, mid game Inferno Cape. Final in
Yeah, I
game will
don't
be.
think I don't think I ever would quit this account as long as like people are super interested in it. YouTube's like my top priority right now,
Yeah,
YouTube and streaming. So whatever the people are into at the time, like I'm definitely gonna have other series going on while doing this account. There's definitely gonna be some slow grinds with chunks, and I like every aspect of the game. So I honestly couldn't only play this account. I play other accounts at the same time, most of the time anyway.
yeah,
Or I'll take a break to do like a challenge or something. But yeah, YouTube and streaming as long as what I'm doing is interesting to the audience, like I'll keep doing it. If the chunk count is interesting for years to come, then I'll go as far as I possibly can with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think do you think your account is better suited for long form YouTube videos or better suited for Twitch streaming? Which do you prefer?
Um, yeah, I think YouTube is definitely like where it shines,
Yeah.
but it's really nice to be able to stream and make content and make a living in between YouTube videos because the YouTube videos are still few and far between. And the way that I like to make videos, um, it's like with less filler and stuff, like just getting to the good part.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's usually condensing hundreds and hundreds of hours into a 30-minute video. So, streaming in the meantime while I'm doing the grinds that I'd be doing anyway is just like bonus to me.
Yeah,
Being
yeah.
able to talk with members of my community and stuff as well. I really enjoy doing that.
What was your introduction to Chunk series?
I watched Alex Bailey's very
Yeah.
first video when it was like less than 1,000 views. So I feel like I was one of the first fans of chunk accounts. Um, but yeah, once Limport's series came out, I was like, now that's exactly what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah.
why not do like the capes and Lumbridge and stuff? So I was like that crazy person who was, itching for something like extreme when it first came out. But such a crazy good idea when it first came out.
Yeah,
Um,
it
Ahead
really
of its
puts a
time.
lot of uh the restrictions it creates really forces you to play the game in a lot of interesting ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the biggest part of it is you make goals and you work to complete those goals. And as soon as you're done with those goals, the game literally gives you new goals. It's kind of like it's a great way to play for people who might be like lost with like too many things to do that they don't know what to do. So I like that aspect of it probably the most.
Yeah. Did you consider doing a Supreme from here?
No, I actually didn't know about Supreme when I
Mm.
first created it, but I do think pets are a little bit too crazy, like the skilling pets. And I don't like the get every drop from every monster as well. I think the
Yeah.
difference in this chunk between Extreme and Supreme are the mining pet, the beaver, and I think I'd have to get long and curved bones from pretty much every monster that drops big bones in the raid, which would
Mm.
be extremely annoying. I've already gotten like every single drop from trolls, every single like regular drop from the raid, so that's not an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, just getting like obscured long curved bones doesn't seem very fun to
Yeah, yeah,
me.
because it's like curve bones are like 1 in 4,000,
5,000.
5,000. Yeah, doing that
Yeah.
for every monster that drops one, that would be not a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Every raid that I've done, one of my teammates got a curved bone um like last week, and that was the first time I've seen anyone else get a curved bone from the raid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. He was from a skeletal mystic. Yeah, I probably would have kept that out if I had done Supreme.
I started doing a Supreme on the Dead Man world, and I had a lot of fun in the beginning, and now where I'm at getting the pets, it's become a lot less fun. I was like, I should have just done an extreme. That's exactly the type of game mode I like.
Yeah, there are very few people who can push past like the extreme RNG aspects of Supreme.
Mm.
I'd say Extreme's like a little bit less RNG focused, only like with a few things, obviously. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, you're mainly going for tangible goals. Although they are long goals, they're like ones that you can mathematically like determine how long it's gonna take for the
Yeah,
most part.
yeah. So you were a big inspiration for me to start this with your Chunk Chat
Mm.
series.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
you do a podcast where you interview people who are doing Chunk series. How has that been going for you?
that's been a lot of fun. Um, it's more so like to fill in time gaps and just to talk to people because I just enjoy that. It's on my second channel, so I'm not like looking to profit like a lot off of it. It's just for more so people who are really itching for stuff like that. Which I think you hit that aspect as well. But yeah, I just eventually I want to talk to pretty much every chunk person and just have a big playlist that people can binge that just want to find like a very niche podcast type,
Yeah, yeah,
which is all chunkers. So maybe once I run out of chunkers, I'd expand because I just like talking to people. There are definitely a lot of non-chunkers that make good content. So um, yeah, maybe at some point I'll branch out
mm,
past chunkers. But yeah, I just want people to have like a playlist like that where they know every single episode they're gonna be interested if they're interested in chunk like counts in general.
yeah, yeah. I found I don't know what your experience or what your view has been, but I found within the Chunk community, people are so supportive of everyone else. Like there doesn't seem to be a lot of drama that I've seen, at least.
No, there's not much drama. Like I think most people who play chunk counts understand that people d can play however they want and that the chunk rules are kind of like they're malleable. You can like change them as you go to your wishes. And even though I don't like to make any exceptions, like I don't blame anyone else for making exceptions. Like I feel like the vanilla game mode is perfect for some people, but not for others, or extreme and supreme, or you know they're fit for people, certain people who like enjoy that more.
Yeah,
So I think most people just want others to succeed, and we're kind of in a community where um, like the more chunkers we have, like um, the better the community thrives as a whole.
yeah. Well, especially because like it seems like people are constantly figuring out new tech to solve problems,
Hmm.
which
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the Chunk style gameplay really like forces people into that position where they're like having to figure stuff out. Like the thing that comes to my mind first is Frey with the Lucky Implings in Puro. Like that was such a cool idea that nobody would have really cared about before that.
yeah. The in Defender tech, it's
Yeah.
definitely like it's finding something that JX has been overlooking for a long time that like doesn't matter for anyone else, but affects chunk counts because of our rule sets and stuff. So pretty interesting.
Do you think you would ever want to start another Chunk account? Like if you were going to start a new series, would you make another Chunk account or would you go a different direction?
I'd probably go a different direction. There's like some like chunk ish series that I could see myself doing like a mini series on. Um, but yeah, not like I don't want to do the same thing except slightly different.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to do like something completely different if I do it, but like still to like my kind of game style, which is like restricting myself slightly and completing something that people think is kind of extreme.
Yeah. Well, what has been the most surprising thing for you on this account within Chambers?
There is like a lot that I've discovered in Chambers that I didn't notice before. And one thing recently is the fact that Iron Man couldn't pick up like the Keystone Crystal from the tightrope room if like another player on their team had dropped it. And so I messaged Mod Ash on it on Twitter, and that actually got changed in the game like very quickly as well. I was very surprised about that. But I also brought like another point up to him, which is another problem that I think a lot of other Iron Men face in the
Yeah.
raid is like if you disconnect or if you log out in the raid on an Iron Man account with raid supplies in your private chests, all those get deleted. So um, I brought that up to him. I don't know if they're gonna do anything on that yet, but um, yeah, that's another like big annoyance, big kind of problem that I think that they could think about um, fixing. Uh,
So
like I definitely want to leave this raid better than when I found it.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I already I made one small change already, which is the Keystone Crystal. But yeah, I'd like to propose a few more changes, not to like make my account easier per chance, but like just make the raid better for a lot of people
yeah.
is like a goal I want to have.
So is it, just so I understand, you're saying if you put stuff in your private storage, disconnect and come back, it's no longer there, or
Yeah,
is it supposed to
yeah,
drop on the
that.
ground for everyone else? Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Well, if it's in your inventory, it drops on the ground and anybody can pick it up, except for
Gotcha.
Iron Man. But yeah, if it's in your private and you disconnect or log out and then log back into the raid, it's gone, which is a little frustrating. There's also like one tactic people have. If they end up dying in a room, it sends you back to like the last checkpoint. And if you're like in the Munidao room in a challenge mode about to go into Ulm, you have to run really far away to get all the way back to the end of the um, like floor. But if you like create a new checkpoint like into the Ulm room, what main accounts do a lot since they use the private storage main accounts
Hmm.
typically, they just log out and then log back in at the next checkpoint, which saves them a bunch of time. But Iron Man couldn't do that, or else they'd lose all their potions.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like there's like a few things with Iron Man that makes it more tedious in a sense than like raiding with a main account.
Did you
So maybe
consider?
we'll get some of those changes in at some point.
Yeah. Do you consider going main to do this series at all?
No, no,
No.
not at all. I mean, I think Iron Man and chunk count is pretty much essential.
Is there anything that you are glad you don't have access to within this area?
Hmm. Interesting question. Um, Glad I don't have access to. I don't know, like if I had I could do smithing in this chunk instead of like waiting until I get it in the next chunk, but um yeah, I I probably wouldn't. I'd have to like lamp for smithing,
Yeah.
but no, I'd rather put that off for another grind instead of doing it at the same time, for sure. Like
Yeah.
the one benefit would be it would give me a lot of magic XP using superheat, and then I'd get to level 75 quicker and be able to use the ancestral in the raid quicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I'm kind of glad that's not there. Um, there's not like much else that would hinder me if it was in the chunk. You know, if they put like a willow tree next to like the water outside, that would be kind of nice, but I won't complain too much about my fletching grind. It is what it is. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
think you can
yeah,
complain about that. I complain for you every time I think about it.
yeah.
Cuz you
But I
it,
don't want to be like, what if they just put a new tree here?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if they were to do that, I would honestly feel bad because like I'm planning on doing the grind anyway, and I don't want people to think that I'm trying to get Jagex to make it easier for me by any means.
Cuz your fletching grind, you have 3 dead trees and that's
I have a
pretty
lot
much
of
it.
dead trees, but there's three like right next to each other
Yeah.
that it's actually faster to hop worlds um, to cut these three trees over and over than it is to run around to the other trees.
Yeah. And you are getting what from those?
Just normal logs from dead trees.
Oh,
One
sorry.
cut of the tree and I get one log.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not AFK at all. And it's 10 fletching XP per log. So it's not very good.
And you're trying to get what level from those?
95 to fletch a dragon dart.
That's terrible.
Yeah. It probably could be considered a meme grind, but like I said, I don't like to make exceptions, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. I mean, you're 85 now, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're.
I get some magic logs from nature implings, so I got a
Mm,
bit of a boost of XP the second I hit 85 because I made some magic longbows, and I get bowstring from young implings, so like that's bonus XP. That got me like 5% of the way from 85 to 86 in just like a couple minutes versus 5% of the way to a level would normally take a few hours. So save me a few hours.
do you find that fletching grind to be more annoying than going through chambers?
Um, More annoying, yeah, yeah, but it's also like it's annoying to do like finding teams is probably the most annoying thing in
Yeah.
the entire chunk. If I could do solos, I would, but there's a little problem of run energy. The only way to not die in the Ulm room is to run. Um, if I were to go in without run energy into Ulm, I would die several times and end the raid with negative points, and then there'd be zero chance of getting a purple.
Mm,
So, yeah, there's no real way to do it solo except for um, Torstals that I can get from nature and plugins I can actually hand into Dr. Jekyll for stamina potions, but needless to say, I don't get many of those.
yeah.
So I'm saving them for the combat achievements. I am gonna do the solo combat achievements that are possible. I don't think that the speed times are possible. I just don't have the DPS for it.
Yeah.
But the other ones are possible. There's I could technically do it in two raids, one challenge mode and one normal mode, but it's kind of unlikely for the normal mode. So I'll probably do one challenge mode solo and then maybe like two or three normal mode solo to get those tasks done. I would prefer to do it solo if I could, just because finding teams is annoying. But it is fun to raid with other people as well. So
Yeah.
I won't knock that. Like it's always like more fun with a group, especially a group you like going with.
How much harder is a challenge mode versus just a regular? Like, could you do regular? Could you solo a regular one now?
No, it's the same problem. Like the more
Yeah.
damage you can avoid, the that's the only way to be able to complete the raid with points is by running. So, yeah, I really couldn't do that even now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, with the stamina pots I have, once I have my best gear, I'll just do it for the combat achievements. Get those
Mm.
done. Two
Is
of them
that
are just to not die in a solo, not die in solo normal, and not die in solo challenge mode. And then there's like one to get over 40k points in a solo normal, which you basically want to not die to get
yeah?
40k plus points. So I can definitely do those two in the same one. There's a few other
Are
ones for like normal chambers too.
yeah.
Um, like no special attacks, I believe, on like Ohm's third phase, something like that. And
Okay.
then like a perfect solo Ohm I have to do as well, which is basically no special attacks.
And your goal is to roll by the end of the year. Is that correct?
Well, I wanted to. It's not really looking very feasible, at least with the fletching. I can do um the raids by then. I'm kind of changing the goal to finish the 2000 challenge modes before the end of the year.
Okay,
But yeah, it might be like till January or February till I roll
gotcha. And you're saying because of the fletching
usually
mostly?
because of the fletching. Yeah,
Yeah, because you're
yeah. But
less than halfway to your goal now. Because I think it's every
of
seven.
the challenge modes,
The
yeah,
fletching.
yeah, less than halfway to the fletching goal too. So that's kind of why. Like I'd have to pick like one or the other to complete before the end of the
Mm,
year. I can't do both before the end of the year. So I'll do the raids. I can do like fletching when I'm not raiding, but yeah, I my goal is to average 10 raids a day until the end of the year. So
yeah.
that's what I'm going for.
How's that going? Are you able to keep that pace already, or is that hard to get enough people to do it with you?
It's a bit hard right now. I think once I have like better gear, it'll be a bit easier. Um, one thing I can't do is go with like random people. I like it. I have to get like the pots from the monsters and stuff, so
Mm,
like coordinating random people to fit fit my needs is kind of iffy. Also, I don't have like a defense reducing weapon, which the Elder Maul would do that. If I had the Elder Maul, I could probably go with randoms, and I'd probably have to bring magic though too.
yeah.
It'd be
The
another challenge.
I know they just upgraded or buffed the Elder Maul. Did that change for you, or is it just kind of less energy? I can't remember the exact buff.
So it added a special attack. Elder Maul didn't have a special attack before.
Oh, okay.
So it was my best main hand weapon anyway. Like over the claws is better. But yeah, the special attack really does improve it a lot. It basically becomes an upgrade Dragon Warhammer, which will speed up my raid times a lot.
Yeah,
Like
it's
when I
crazy
do
that.
those solos and even on the teams, like sometimes if the team misses all their special attacks, it's a pretty bad raid. But if I have a special attack or like a defense reducing special attack as well, that would definitely improve it.
Mm. So how many like what do you do differently that you wouldn't do on your main account when you're going through a raid?
Well, mostly just try and reduce the amount of damage I take
Mm.
regularly. Um, one thing for sure is like Shaman Room. They poison you for a lot, and I don't have access to anti-poisons besides strange fruit, which I get from random events. So I only bring those into the raid as a like a last ditch kind of thing, like in
Yeah,
case I get poisoned and don't want to die, I
yeah.
just sit that instead.
So being in the One Chunk clan, what is your view on the chunk community? Do you think it's oversaturated? Do you think it's still peaking?
I don't think it could really have a cap.
Yeah.
Obviously the clan chat has a cap, and they've been struggling with that as far as like it filling up constantly, and they have to like purge it every now and then with people who are inactive. But we can just make another clan chat at some point, or other chunkers can make clan chats. I know Happary has like his own clan chat if anybody's looking to make an extreme or like any sort of chunk count and they want to join his. I know Verve has his own clan chat as well. Like there are other options um, than just the one chunk clan, but it is definitely a great community. I do love seeing everybody always gratzing people and always, um, you know, giving good advice, and everybody's pretty nice to each other for the most part. Um, People normally understand that if I'm being mean, it's sarcasm,
Yeah.
because that's kind of like where my humor is. But Yeah, yeah, everybody's really nice there. Honestly, it's been a great group of people. There's also like a lot of people who aren't creators who just have insane grinds and insane accounts, and it's fun to watch their progress without like having a YouTube video to follow along to.
Yeah, yeah. That is fun to like the Cliff Notes versions of their accounts almost.
Yeah, yeah, you see like the milestones in the clan chat, their collection logs go up, and sometimes they'll tell us what's going on or giving us an update, or they give a chunk picker code that we can check out,
Yeah.
see how they're doing.
Do you think you would have done a chunk man if the chunk picker map didn't exist?
I actually didn't have a chunk picker map for like 2 months after I started
Oh,
my
okay.
account. I
Yeah.
completed, I like thought out all of the requirements myself, and then realized I could have the chunk picker do it. But chunk picker is not always right. People need to do some research for themselves as well.
Yeah.
Um, because when I did finally make a map, I had to tell Source about a few things that it had missed in Chambers.
Yeah.
But nobody had ever picked that account or that as a starting chunk ever, so I can see why it was missed.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other places that people have never started in or people haven't gotten to yet even. So there's always updating to be done for sure.
Yeah. Do you think do you think Cox is a longer grind than the monastery?
No, Monastery
No.
is like 10 years. Yeah, unless like I don't know. I know that somebody did start there recently, made a video on it, and I wish the best for him. But yeah, unless Jagex adds something new to improve XP rates, maybe he gets like a dragon spear from a mystery box, and that improves like his DPS on things to get bones quicker.
Yeah.
But there's really not much chance that he can complete it any quicker.
Yeah.
Um, without maybe like burning Joker bones, which is kind of frowned upon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when you get another account, like a main account, to come and burn the Joker bones, and then
Yeah.
they're able to get picked up by Ironman, which is a really interesting oversight.
Yeah, and one that they've known about for a while and haven't done anything to fix for a while. I think it's just because it's not really that overpowered. I think the
Mm.
only time on like a non-restricted account that it's used is like if someone has a brand new Iron Man and like a hardcore where they can't use like Chaos Altar and they want
Yeah.
to just get like 43 prayer quick, they can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because I
And
think
it's
it's only like
expensive, which also um evens it out too. Like a main account would have to use mills and mills to even get just 43 on an account. Like imagine getting 99 on an account with that. It would take like a few bill to get that.
yeah, because I think it's only 15 XP.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
like
a
a
big
big
bone.
bone,
Yeah.
except that it costs like 20K per. So yeah, I mean, I already said I wouldn't do that. People ask me why I didn't do that to get a level 74 for rigor. And I mean, getting the troll drops was beneficial for me anyway, so
Yeah.
there was no reason not to kill as many trolls as I did. Like I would have had to anyway, get my stats up for more damage in the raid too. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
because it's free and it's the same amount of XP, and you're getting training done, which is
yeah. And people are already like thinking I like take advantage anyway with the mega scales I've done, stuff like that. So
oh yeah,
there's
the
already
people.
like some backlash on the methods I use on my account, but yeah, I think it's different because I kind of had to do that. Um, whereas like the Joker Bones, I can choose not to do it, and everything works out completely fine for me. Or it doesn't really save that much time because burning Joker Bones, even just burning them and then picking them up and then burying them, wouldn't save me all that much time other than like killing a troll and burying it.
Yeah.
Like it's not that huge of a time save, and I get the benefits of the loot and the benefits of the XP from killing them too.
What do you think people are upset about with the mass raids?
Just more so that like I'm using another account to boost the points that I get. And I mean, there's a lot of argument that like doing mega scale raids where you essentially put all of the total points in the raid towards the player that you want to get the drop on.
Yeah.
And that probably shouldn't be a thing in the first place, but Jagex hasn't fixed it. They've known about it for years. And yeah, it's just in the game. One thing that I did to make it better, I feel, is creating a rule where I can't like have somebody else do the mega scale for me. I have to do it on my own account.
Yeah.
Even though it's still having another account do most of the work, it's me on the end of the computer doing something difficult that like hopefully makes it a little bit better for most people. But also like I would have had to do a lot more raids with a rune sim and without rigor and like it's hard to find teams anyway, but having like those that gear setup was a lot hard to find teams for sure.
Yeah.
Like now I can take people who are kind of still learning challenge mode and we can still get a raid completed with pretty good points. Whereas before I was relying a lot more on my teammates, so kind of
Mm.
like the difference, it doesn't seem much different to me to rely on teammates to carry me through the entire raid versus doing mega scales. Like I'd rather do the mega scales myself, get the items that I need to make the raid quicker, and then rely less on my teammates when I do challenge mode. It seems like
Yeah.
a good give and take.
Yeah. I was kind of, that's what I was kind of thinking of. What what the issue people would have between those two things, because I don't think anyone would care that you're going with other people at all, right?
Once in a while, but a lot fewer people care about that for
Yeah.
sure.
Because it seems pretty similar to me, kind of like what you're saying, but
Yeah, yeah, like in theory it's kind of similar. Like I mean, I put a lot of effort into the raids even if I'm not doing that much damage.
yeah.
But yeah, when I had like 10% of the total points in the raid, like what was the difference of like them carrying me through a raid versus me doing mega scales to just speed up that process
Yeah.
of like getting purples?
Do you think you could have, like, said, I'm only doing solos until you're ready to do challenge modes or something? Do you think you could have even progressed that far?
No, like I would have, like I said earlier, without stamina pots, I would end the raid with negative points.
Yeah.
You can end the raid with negative points if you die enough times. Yeah, it would have been just not viable at all, and it would
Yeah.
be like a 5 hour raid for nothing in return.
Yeah. That would be not something you could finish, I don't think. Like a series, no one would want to watch that.
Yeah, yeah, it wouldn't be interesting for YouTube. If you did everything solo, it would have just taken way longer anyway. Yeah, so there's a little bit of efficacy like here and there, but I think overall what I'm doing, the way I'm doing it makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't have any issue with it. I think that seems like a good allowance for your account.
Yeah, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
You definitely see that with YouTube. There's always haters. You don't
Yeah.
make it until you get haters either, so
There you go.
it's a good sign. Yeah, have you gotten any interesting people in your comments section on your account?
Mostly what I get, and I wouldn't even say it's negative. It's people saying I don't need to do a task. People will tell me like, you already have an Addy sim, you don't need to get the iron sim. I was like, well, I'm trying to get everything in each chunk. So if it gives me the task, I still want to get it, even if I have the better upgrade, because it's kind of
Hmm.
wiping each time I move. Is the idea that I have behind it, and so I'm constantly telling people like, oh no, actually it's okay. I want to get it. I want to earn each chunk that I get. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough.
and then people are like, will say, which I think is valid. They'll be like, why didn't you do this? And I was like, well, I didn't realize I could. Those are the two. Like, again, I wouldn't even say they're negative, but the maybe critical comments are, I don't need to do something, and why didn't I do something else?
Yeah, I mean, people in the comments are pretty smart in their own
Yeah.
right. Like they can usually think of things that you missed. Yeah, I mean, I get that too. Um, but yeah, like they're not right all the time though, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes we just don't know and we do it anyway. But
Yeah, I killed like, I can't remember what it was, like 20, 30 goblins looking for a iron dagger that had a spawn just like, 20 tiles away from where I was. And someone told me months later, they're like, why didn't you get it? I was like, oh, I wish I would have. I think between our accounts, we're like all the way on the opposite ends of the spectrum of what chunk accounts could be.
yeah, it's always good to have like new interesting concepts to work with. Definitely like even though people start in different places with chunk counts, um, a lot of times we hit the same grinds and everything, so it's good to mix things up. It's kind of like
Yeah.
the Puro debate, also like shooting stars, another big topic.
Mm.
That like every chunk count gets a Puro grind. Um, that's just like how the rules are, and there's a lot of places to enter Puro. And like
Yeah.
shooting stars, there's tons of locations for shooting stars.
Where
And
do
it just
you
happens to be a 90 mining requirement.
where do you
Yeah.
land with that stuff?
I mean, if you want to make your progress different than like the next person, like you can definitely say that grinds like that aren't chunk specific
Yeah.
because they happen like a lot of other places. And you can argue with stars that the task would be mine the star. It doesn't matter like what tier
Mm.
of star it is. Just
Yeah.
mine the star and then that could be task completed.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to be different, you can make rules like that. It's just good to like set your rules ahead of time.
Yeah.
I think where people mostly get mad is when you say that you're going to be like extreme, follow Limport's rules exactly, and then you make exceptions to that down the line. People like
Mm.
you to just be upfront about things, which I understand that. But
Yeah.
people who are upfront about things, sometimes they still get backlash, which I feel like they don't deserve.
Yeah.
But yeah, still, like people have their own opinions on it, and that's fine. But yeah, switching things up is always a good thing with like YouTube content, at least.
Yeah. 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 For me, I think I initially planned on doing shooting stars, but have come around and changed my mind on those. And Puro, I decided a long time ago, I'm not going to do wheat fields, but I am going to do, if I go through Xanaris. Once I do that, then the wheat fields I'm going to unlock.
That's fair enough, yeah.
Because
Definitely.
there's
I
just,
think that's a good plan.
yeah, there's just so many with my account moving around that it'd be, what is it, 89 Hunter,
8900, yeah.
that would block me out of so many extra places.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, it's good to be original, but yeah, think ahead a bit and try and get your rules out straight beforehand is a good thing to do. But yeah, eventually, once most of us get into like the end game, we're gonna be doing the same bosses. We're gonna
Yeah.
be doing like the same collection logs. Um, there's gonna be a lot of repetitiveness, but you know, we're all our own personalities, and we're all gonna try something to get the audience like excited about different grinds. So I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. My view on Chunkman is in game is kind of weak. The early game is the best, mid game is fun, and then in game kind of like once you start unlocking a lot of the map, it starts to feel kind of just like an Iron Man account. Is there anything that
A little
you're
bit, yeah.
trying to build into your account to avoid something like that?
I don't think we've really reached that with Extreme yet.
Mm,
Um, Limpwort's gotten very far, and I feel like every single Chunky Rolls is still an interesting grind.
mm,
Um, and if that's saying anything, then at least the next 5 years, my account's gonna be doing pretty well.
yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, with the Tebow, I'm kind of end game, but also early game. And a lot of things, I still have a lot of level one stats that can be, gained. Not gonna be maxing anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's still like a lot of bosses to be done at pretty low level. I mean, the Tebow doesn't like do well at every place, so and even just like manhandling an Elder Maul would be considered like pretty bad compared to other like weapons in
Yeah.
certain places. So there's still like a lot of stuff to be gained. Just even questing in general is pretty difficult on chunk count, so being able to um get like easy upgrades from quests that people are like used to will be really difficult on an account like this. Like getting ancients is gonna take a ton of chunks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, getting to Mortania is gonna take a lot of chunks. Getting to Varlamore, since they put that quest in Varrock, is gonna take a lot of chunks. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that I don't think people think about. Where extreme, I think, will be really interesting in the end game versus like vanilla accounts. I don't think are typically very interesting in the end game. I think part of it too is extremes will have to like get the pet from certain bosses. So like when they unlock God Wars, they're gonna be doing God Wars in weird gear, and they're gonna be not leaving until they complete the whole thing in one
Yeah.
go, which most people don't do on regular Iron Man accounts. Whereas like a lot of vanilla rules are, you can flip between different content, and that's fine. But yeah, it becomes mostly a normal Iron Man at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what's interesting about all of the accounts is the rules are just there to make you have fun. Like
Hmm.
which rules do you enjoy? Which rules give you a challenge that you'll feel accomplished by? Which what do you want to do? Are you more excited to complete chunks faster? Then do vanilla. If you're excited to have these intense, insane grinds, do supreme. If you are looking for something more in the middle, do extreme. Like
Hmm.
there's so many things that you can do and tweak and change so it fits what you want to do because that's all that it's about.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think there's longevity with extreme as far as like it being interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are gonna be doing the same kind of bosses, but I think with as many different starting chunks as we have, there's gonna be enough variety for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Are there any series that you are enjoying right now? Anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Give a shout out to Spoon, the Barlamore chunker. He started, I believe, in the West Bank in Fortis, And yeah, he's unlocked a lot of chunks in Barlamore already as an extreme. Done some insane grinds, and he's got some interesting videos coming out soon that I think you guys should check out. I also want to shout out Mark RS, aka Chunky Thorpe, the Birthorpe man. Um, just unlocked Cavalry as well. So he's from Birthorpe to Cavalry. He'll have a lot of insane grinds on his account, and he's definitely a gamer. He's definitely willing to do most anything. So big shout outs to them. I also want to give a shout out to Extreme Gnome, um, the surfing man himself. He's been surfing all summer, but he is like back to regular content and doing a ton of agility laps to finish 90, I believe, right now in the Ardoin. So
Yeah.
definitely check out his videos. Uh, Hannibal, we'll give a shout out to as well. The Supreme in Sears Village. And he is going dry on the beaver pet. But eventually he'll roll and he'll leave that chunk. So definitely check him out. Um, and yeah, I have podcasts with all these guys too. So yeah, they're definitely really chill people to talk with. Very interesting. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on your podcast as well.
Yeah,
Fun to
of
be on the
course.
other side sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, your other channel is also Agile Tom, and the
Yeah,
podcast is Chunk Chat. But then your main series is Agile Tom, Cox Chunk.
yes, sir.
And if people wanted to raid with you, what's the best way for them to like get in touch with you, set that up?
Just private message me in game. Having a little bit of experience is nice. Um, Minimum gear requirements like both Lance and Sang staff are nice as well. And yeah, I always need raiders, so feel free to message me for sure.
Well, man, I thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's been so much fun, and
Yeah,
I hope you get your Elder Maul really soon.
thank you. That would be insane for the account.